Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you Aletoledo versus JMWW2 in the Community Patch Tournament. Today we are seeing Colleville, and on the Allied side, Aletoledo is going to be taking out the 6th Airborne. And on the Axis side, JM is going to be using the 116th Panzer. So, if you guys have not heard about the Community Patch Tournament thus far, then you must have missed my last two videos, but basically it is a tournament that uses the Community Balance mod. You can find it on the Steam Workshop, so make sure you go check it out. I'll leave a link in the description as well, so you can find it there if you would like to take a look. The idea of the project is to try and balance the game, since Eugen have stopped developing Steel Division, so it seems. And so the community has decided to try and take over. But let's talk about the divisions we have today. So the 6th Airborne has had quite a lot of changes. I have mentioned them in a previous video, but I'll go over them quickly again. The infantry availability of airborne units has been increased across the board. There has also been some changes to the availability of air landing and assault pioneers, but more in line to not allow the 6th to have too much of an overwhelming presence in Phase B and C, and keep more of the thematic sort of division style. They have got added sets of air landing in Phase C. They've also got increased veterancy on things like their Typhoon AT in Phase C, and they've got extra like tripolstons, actually just the single polstons I think they are in Phase A. Lots of different changes like this just to kind of make them a bit stronger earlier on and really solidify them as an early to mid-game division that should fall off late game. That's the plan with that division. The 116th actually hasn't been changed that much. The only difference is that moving into Phase B, it now has 110 income per minute rather than 100. So it basically doesn't buff the early game, which is already relatively strong in the right hands, but allows them to be a bit more consistent in the mid game. Also, a small change, they have had their veterancy increased on the space troop, but that is about it. And that's just to give their recon a bit of survivability in the early game. So that's our division setup. Let's have a look at how these players are deciding to play them. So on the bottom side here we have the 6-pounder. We got 2 Piats. There is going to be a couple of infantry squads. In the mid, another 6-pounder with an infantry squad and 2 more infantry squads for the top side. There's actually no command, but there is going to be a Mosquito Pathfinder. This is very interesting. Now, I'm not entirely sure it's going to be doing too much damage to JM with the 116th, but it looks like he's going to be trying to drop it on these half tracks and prevent them from getting to their locations. So a nice strike there, won't necessarily kill the half track since they can drive straight through, but it will cause them to panic a little. If this had been forced to fall back, I think it would have unloaded the spear through, but not going to happen this time around, so the effectiveness of that Mosquito was definitely limited. Again, because it was the 116th, all of these men are in half tracks, and that means they don't just get unloaded like they would if they were in Opel Blitzes, for example. So the Spähtrüppe are going to be unloaded in the mid, and the mid's actually going to be left relatively exposed, especially if the 251 goes down. So if that half track gets moved after unloading that recon squad, we could see a massive salient in the mid early on. The 6-pounder has found sight, and will most likely find the kill shortly enough. Double Piat for the bottom side is going to be trying to hold off 234, 1, 232, and a Panzer 3 and a Flampanzer. And for the top side here for JM, well, he's just carved through this infantry. He's taken out 1 squad already. He surrenders the 2nd. So JM going to be taking control of this top side. Panzergrenadiere have been unloaded, but I'd like to see both of these squads get back in their half tracks and carry on, since that is a very nice salient there for JM. He has lost control of the centre due to the loss of the half track. But other than that, JM is certainly in a good position to take control of this top side. So does he pick up his Panzergrens or Panzergrenadiere, or does he just run them forwards? It looks like he is not going to be picking them up again, which could be a very big mistake. A lot of opportunity here to really dig in quite far up on the map. But overall, only just a +1 for JM. That's 53% territory lead, even though this front line is looking awfully strange right now. 2341 does get hit. Ammo storage hit, I believe, from the 6-pounder caused it to lose all of its 20mm ammunition, which is pretty rough. Can the Piat take out the 232? It's going to hope it does, because it's going to die. And the 232 does go down. Trades for a Piat. Piat squads here, 15 points apiece. If they can take out things like the Panzer, 60 points. That is a very cost-effective unit. Taking out the 45-point 232 with a 15-point Piat is very nice as well. That half-track going to be taken out as they try and push on. Can the 6-pounder take out the Panzer? It is a 2-star 6-pounder. It should be able to. Misses that final shot. That is very unlucky for Aletoledo, since it had already been on target. This 6-pounder, though, definitely in the wrong position. Panzer Grenadiers are going to be able to take that out. Oxenbucks have found their way all the way up to basically make a salient. Guerrilla is on the way, though, and if the location of these Oxenbucks is known, then a fire position from the Guerrilla may cause those Oxenbucks to be surrendered. So, trades on the bottom side. Panzer down, 232 down. The Panzer III is still alive, so is a 2341, but that is not very effective right now due to its loss of 20mm ammunition. On the top side, half-tracks have gone down. It looks like the salient didn't really hold for very long, as Aletoledo brings in a bunch of infantry to try and make back the ground. Does still need to be careful using infantry against this Panzer, though, since Piats are unreliable, and this still has a 260-meter range on the flamethrowers, which means that the Panzer can outrange things like the Piats. On top of that, things like the Airborne Paras only have 100-meter range on their AT, so they're a lot more exposed. So the 6-pounder here is going to be trying to take that shot at the Panzer III, is going to find itself pinned down by both the Panzer III and the 251. Taking a lot of damage, actually. That 6-pounder is going to want to fall back. Losing that unnecessarily would be very, very bad indeed. Looks like the Spähstrupp trying to get in range to kill that 6-pounder off. So Oxenbucks, they're also potentially going to be pinned down. The Spähstrupp push is quite something, honestly. Taking out both of these units would cause a nice salient in the mid in favour of JM and get rid of the +1 that Aletoledo has made. He's going to struggle to actually surrender these guys since he's using recon squads. But in general, this is very good for JM. Tetrarch Littlejohn has been brought in. He's going to be trying to clean up the Panzer. Oxenbucks opening up with the Piat. They've got to hit the mark, and they do. And having done so, the Oxenbucks will be safe for now. Won't be burnt to death. I'm sure they'll be happy with that. Tetrarch Littlejohn did its job there, panicking that Panzer initially. Looks like the Oxenbucks, they weren't actually taken out. But the location of those is relatively, or quite obvious with the sort of circle there. Panzergrens, as they move up, will reveal the Oxenbucks. Meanwhile here, we can see that the Spähstrupp are now just beating on these Oxenbucks. And on the bottom side, Tetrarch Littlejohn going to be looking for an engagement against the Panzer III. Panzer IIIL is going to be changing its target. Littlejohn did get off the first shot, but missed. And that's going to be a driver wound onto the Tetrarch Littlejohn. Looks like the Panzer III may be cleaning up this one. Those Tetrarch Littlejohns do definitely suffer. They do only have 5 accuracy and no veterancy, so that's pretty rough. But really nice job here by Aletoledo, using the airborne nature of the Oxenbucks to continue their effectiveness behind enemy lines. Did a lot of damage to the Panzergrens as they tried to approach this house. Also got the Piat engagement onto the 259, but what he's going to want to do with these Oxenbucks is get the Lee Enfield and the Bren turned back on so he can clear up those Panzergrens sooner than later. Mosquito Pathfinder does come in with the flames on the bottom side. That's going to be preventing the Spähstrupp from running down the Oxenbucks. Meanwhile, though, Tetrarch Littlejohn going to be pushing around the corner. Guerrilla does have a good chance to take out the Tetrarch Littlejohn. This is a point-blank shot. Is going to fall back and surrender. There we go. No command to be seen. Aletoledo has definitely been neglecting his use of command throughout the game so far. It's something I've definitely noticed. But it's not really too bad, since things like the Ox and Bucks here managed to not get pinned down and therefore survived. But when things do get pinned down, like the Tetrarch Little John here, they will surrender almost instantly. Regardless, Aletoledo does have the +2, was just on a +3, finding a lot of points now. But the guerrilla, a really nice unit in order to stop any infantry movement across the open. So where is this guerrilla trying to aim? It looks like it was pointing out these Ox and Bucks, as the Panzer Grenadiers did engage those previously. But can these Ox and Bucks find another kill? They had just used their last Piat. 259 is clear to clean those up, and I'm not sure they will be lasting too much longer. I guess the grenades actually from the Ox and Bucks could do the job. Some nice micro here from Aletoledo could allow him to kill that 259, since it did get close enough to be grenade, like in grenade range. So yeah, I'm surprised that Aletoledo didn't go for that, but maybe not confident in doing so, and is more focusing on his infantry micro at the moment, as he has brought up a ton of infantry squads in the early game. Now this is a similar mistake that he did make, however, with Herr Robert. Even though you have increased availability with the 6th Airborne, I still don't think it's worth kind of wasting things like these airborne units. They can be extremely effective in the right positions, and against Herr Robert, he did run out of the airborne units, and it really did cost him in the late game. Like, Herr Robert made a really nice comeback with the 1st SS, and I feel like there's potential here for the 116th to do the same. The biggest difference, though, between the 1st SS and the 116th is the 116th has significantly less infantry to work with, and therefore will not be able to break down these hedgerows and orchards so easily. But this is going to be 2 airborne paras pinned down, 2 more squads surrendered. Lack of command there again showing. And Tetrarch Little John now trying to engage the Panzer III is going to be taken out as well. Again, that's a lack of command that caused the Panzer or the Tetrarch to not even hit anywhere near the Panzer III. So another unit going down, and it looks like in the center here, oh, another unit going to be killed off. That was a recon, not even unloaded from the Jeep. Big mistake there, losing a lot of units unnecessarily. Ox and Bucks are going to be opening up onto the 251. Completely missed the mark. Look how far away that was from the target. Can the second one do the job? No, it cannot. It's going to land next to it. 3rd time lucky. Come on, Ox and Bucks, you can do it. Nope. Going to miss again. 3 in a row. 251 just going to be falling back for now. 250-10's going to be getting involved. Killing off these Ox and Bucks would be fantastic for JM to make back some of the ground he's lost in the early game. But these Panzer Grenadiers coming in hot, they managed to get rid of both of those airborne units. Now they are mowing down the airborne Paris with the help of the Panzer III. And what a hectic game this has been. A lot of units thrown away on both sides so far. There is this unfortunate machine gun in the top left. Looks like that was part of a deploy bug at the start of the game, and has not been noticed since. But either way, Ox and Bucks and the airborne Piat are going to be taking out that half-track finally. That half-track took 5 Piat shots to take out. That's pretty nuts. Tetrarch CS going to be trying its best to take out a Panzer III, but really not going to happen. Panzer III just going to be eating that Tetrarch CS for breakfast. The machine gun actually secured the kill due to the low armor of the Tetrarch. And that just shows how weak those Tetrarchs can be. I was very surprised actually when the guerrilla with 27 HE did not just like one pop the Tetrarch Little John that it bumped into. But here comes a Mosquito Pathfinder again. This time actually going for the 250-10. And I am very confused to see this Mosquito Pathfinder going for armored targets, since it is not too likely to kill them off. Open top vehicles like these half-tracks can indeed die, but in this case it looks like this 259 will just drive off into the distance, whilst things like this Panzer Grenadier would burn to death had it been hit by the Pathfinder. Like a really nice Pathfinder strike here onto the Panzer III, the Panzer Grenadier and the Panzergrenführer may have lined up other units to really exploit that area. The airborne Piat here going to be taking a shot at the 250-10, does find the kill, very nice indeed. Gepard going to be taking shots. I don't think it's going to be likely to kill the Piat. The Piat's probably going to get back in cover. And indeed it does, but more infantry on the way for JM now. And it looks like Aletoledo is already relying on assault pioneers. So yeah, losing a lot of his expensive airborne units early on is meaning that he's going to have to start relying on these 5-man squads and the 8-man squads of the air landing, and that is not a real position you want to be in. Nice kill though onto the half track with the Piats. The Piat squads have actually been doing relatively well in holding back the tide and causing damage to the light vehicles that would push salients, so that's not too bad. But now we're going to be seeing a Cromwell 5 on the way. Now the Cromwell really needs to take care of this Panzer 3. However, the Panzer 3 has 2-star veterancy and the 10 AP that can really do a lot of damage to the 7 front armor. The Cromwell 5 does not have any veterancy and therefore is very unlikely to win this engagement. If this engagement continues, then Aletoledo is going to be in trouble. He is trying to reverse away from that. He is going to be forced to fall back. Panzer 3 fails to get the kill as the Cromwell drives out of range. Now we see a 2-3-4-3 coming in on the bottom side. Not too often you see these anymore, but really good for long-range infantry fire support with that 9 HE on their main gun. Typhoon going to be coming in and bombing an infantry squad. Honestly, using the bombers and aircraft to break down the infantry availability of the 116th is actually a very good way to win on a map like Colleville. Because on this top side, I already mentioned the orchards and the tree lines that would be very difficult for JM to break through, and that seems to be where Aletoledo is holding so far. The only issue is that if a lot of damage is done on this bottom side, it's going to be incredibly difficult for Aletoledo to take it back. And you can see the airborne Piat there failing to hold back the tide. The Panzer Grenadiers have now unloaded. We'll be finding the Oxenbucks, and Oxenbucks do have their longer range weapons turned off, so they do not reveal themselves. Are going to be doing a runner, but if they get revealed again, that 2-3-4-3 is going to be getting involved, and that will not end well for Aletoledo. However, what is ending well is this engagement with the Panzer Grenadiers on the top side. Airborne Paras take care of those. If they can sneak up to the Grela, that would be very nice. They could get the 100 meter range AT onto that, since this hedgerow would be in range. So that would be a nice idea. However, as you can see, Oxenbucks, they are going to be pinned down and surrendered, since once again there is no command on this bottom side. Seems like Aletoledo, I don't know if he's forgetting about command or whether he feels that he doesn't need it, but it has cost him an awful lot of units now. And that's when you can really start to, question, I guess, the choices that players make. Regardless, Panzer Grenadiers did get the job done, and that's going to be pushing JM to a +2, which is going to give him a major victory in 20 minutes. So, 250-10, going to be taking out that Piat, and on the top side, Airborne Paras are being broken down by the half-track support. One thing that is kind of annoying about the 6th Airborne is that most of their units don't actually have Piats. At least like their airborne units, like these Paras. And they rely on these 100 meter range gammon bombs. And what that allows is these half-tracks to be very sort of aggressive into those squads without having to worry too much, because the gammon bombs aren't even that accurate themselves either. So that's a real problem that Aletoledo is going to have to find a sort of solution for. And it could be things like the 17 pounders, it could be things like the Cromwell 5. But I'm hoping that he brings in a second Cromwell 5 before going for another engagement with something like a Panzer 3. Because it's very unlikely that a Cromwell 5 with no veterancy is going to win at a ranged engagement against a high veterancy Panzer 3. It's just not going to happen. I mean, it can happen, but it's unlikely to happen. So Panzer Grenadiers here, they're going to be trying to hit these airborne Paras from range. Aletoledo doing well to micro them out of the way. Bring in the Mosquito Pathfinder for the napalm bombs. Hitting those onto the infantry is definitely what I like to see. This is what I wanted to see before, and he's finally decided to do so. So initially he hit some Spähtrupp down here, which was nice, but this strike is very good. Again, breaking down the infantry availability of the 116th is extremely important in order to defeat them in the mid to late game. Otherwise, they will just roll over you with their exceptional armored support. So we see those Panzer guns fall back. They might actually end up bumping into the Ochsenbucks, in which case they will be surrendered because the command is not in range. The command is down here. There is no command for these Panzer guns on the top side, but they're still going to be doing plenty of damage to the Ochsenbucks with their MG42s. Those Ochsenbucks revealed by the fact that they actually surrendered that unit. But here we see the ME-109 G6R6 that was brought in by JM, taken out very easily by the Tempest. And that's going to leave the skies in control of Aletoledo, which is very important since he is going to have to start relying more on his aircraft as he gets further into this game, since his infantry availability is looking very low right now, and probably waiting until Phase C to have more available. So Airborne Paras, they're going to be wanting to take out this Gepard on the top side at some point, but Aletoledo doesn't actually have too much recon as well. So both command and recon lacking at the moment. You can see that he doesn't really see much happening on the top side, and he can only see stuff on the bottom side due to these units being blatantly obvious. That half track going to be taken out. Cromwell 5 gets rid of that. That Cromwell 5 actually did manage to clean up the 250-10 and the half track here, so that is good use of the Cromwell 5. But he's just got to take care when engaging the Panzer III, as I already mentioned. 2-3-4-1. Going to be having a go. Ooh, 17 pounder out of nowhere though. Does find that kill. Very nice snipe through the buildings there. Took a shot straight through the middle. Now the Cromwell 5 engaging the Panzer III, and you can see that the Panzer III is going to get the advantage in this engagement initially. Pak 40 also firing away and does find the kill. Typhoon is going to be looking for the bombing strike here. Is that going to be on the target though? I'm not entirely sure. It looks like it was a bit off. Yeah, I feel like if both of those bombs fell next to it, then it would have killed it. So I think that was just a little bit off there. But good to still do some more damage to the Pak 40 regardless. Airborne Paras trying their best to get a Gammon bomb on target on the Gepard, but the Gepard is going to get away with that. So, as I mentioned before, Gammon bombs just as unreliable as Piats. But now we see this Pak 40 once again opening up, and this is going to be causing issues. 2-star Pak 40s are very, very hard to get rid of, and they can do a lot of damage very quickly indeed. That doesn't even have command near it, so that is technically a 3-star Pak 40 if this Panzergrenführer moves back a bit. Panzer III now engaging the Assault Pioneers. They try and come across. 17 pounder trying to creep up into range. The best he can do so far. Cromwell 5 is going to be engaging the Pak 38, but the Pak 38 actually gets an ammo storage hit. The 10 AP against that 7 front armor is not an engagement that Aletoledo is going to want. Airborne Vickers, though, with the help of the Humber Mark III and the machine gun of the Cromwell 5, mowing down those Panzergrans, even find the surrender to the Vickers HMG. So Aletoledo still putting up a great fight, but still going to be losing the game in 19 minutes and 40 seconds if he cannot make enough ground back. So moving into the late game, things like challenges for the bottom side would be very nice. More aircraft in order to pick off these Panzergran units would be fantastic. And that may allow him to use the remainder of his infantry availability, Aletoledo, in order to make ground. Because HMG is going to find the kill onto the Sturm Pioneers on the bottom side. So just got to clean up things like the Gepard, the Panzer III, and the 2-3-4-1, and he can start to make ground. But it is surprising to me, actually, that this far into the game, a Pak 38 and the Panzer III are the reason that the 6th Airborne can't make any ground. But the Mosquito Pathfinder going to be coming in with that strike. Where is he going for the napalm? It's actually going to land on top of the Speithrow. Poor chap is going to get burnt up. Panzer III did go down here to the 17 pounder. Really nice shot, actually. And here comes the Typhoon again with another bombing strike. Going to be hitting those Panzer Grenadiers very hard indeed. Takes them down to 5 men. Whilst the Airborne Paras clean up some units on the top side. Ochsenbucks are going to be engaging the Panzer Grenadiers here. Pak 40 currently holding on return fire. Does not want to reveal that position, but the Panzerwerfer has a lock on the 17 pounder position. Will the 17 pounder survive? Will it be lucky to not get hit? Gets hit once, gets hit twice. Panzerwerfer does its job. Pak 38 on this bottom side takes out the Humber Mark III. And it looks like the Cromwell 5 has also gone down to the same AT gun. Now we're seeing the Challenger come in. needs recon to see this Pack 38, otherwise it's not really going to be doing too much, and still has a 7 front armor that can be killed. So Pack 38 here might actually find a kill onto a Challenger, which would be very, very unfortunate for Aletoledo. He's actually not even engaging. This order is really confusing because it looks like he's got an attack move order towards the Pack 38. Surely he can see that. He can see it, so he should be firing at it, but it's already falling back, and he's got a crew knockout. The Airborne Vickers is going to be the thing that saves the day. But with the 2-3-4-3 here, the Vickers would get pinned. Typhoon is going to find the bombing strike, so Challenger is saved for now. But a lot of stuff has been happening on the top side, and a fresh unit of infantry has been unloaded here. If the MGs get on target, these airborne paras are going to be in a tough spot. I think the Panzergrens are engaging the airborne paras at close range with their 100-meter range weapons. Yeah, whilst using the MG to hit the squad behind. So the Panzergrens were unfortunate there because they just unloaded within the 100-meter range of the first airborne paras, and that was enough damage to pin them down, but since the Panzergrens do not have that extra veterancy. These airborne paras are also going to clean up another Panzergren squad there, so Aletoledo holding on by the skin of his teeth as JM now brings in a Panther G. So moving into the late game with the 116th, Panther Gs are a thing, and that is going to definitely stop the use of Challengers in the open. Getting this Panther down to the bottom side would be a fantastic way to just dominate this map. However, he is going to have to find a way to take back the top side. It shouldn't be too difficult for JM, since there is only one Assault Pioneer, one Airborne Para, and another single-man squad of like Airborne Paras on the top side. So not too much to clean up here, and I guess if JM comes in with a couple of these Sturm Pioneers, it won't be too hard for him to break through. And we'll have to see if that happens. Ooh, Panther G! It looks like it was like fast moving down this road or something. Ended up getting completely trashed by the Challenger. The Challenger will be able to clean that up with the help of the Cromwell 4. Cromwell 4 didn't even end up firing in the end. Challenger finishes the job, and a Panther G goes down. That is a huge mistake for JM. You could have very easily avoided that with an attack move order coming round the corner of this tree line, and that would have killed the Challenger very easily. A 1-star Panther G. Panther Gs have 7 base accuracy. They don't miss very often, especially at the 800-meter range. So that would have been one toasted Challenger. But in this case, Challenger saves the day and takes the side shot into the Panther to find the kill. Gepard is going to also be taken out, and the Challenger can now pick apart a lot of these units at range. The Gepard in the center now under threat. JM is going to be pulling that back. 2-3-4 though. I mean, the closer that the Challenger gets, honestly, this 2-3-4 could have a chance of finding the kill. Might take too long to aim though, since it does, well, it is sort of like a self-propelled gun. Now we see an SDK Z71 coming in on the bottom side with another Grilla. Not really the units that you want to see on the field right now, especially in the face of a Challenger. What you do really need is another Panther G, but of course one has just been lost. Typhoon, oh, lovely bombing strike there. Going to be taking out that Panzer Grenadiers. Is really what I just want to keep seeing those Typhoons come in and just bomb those Panzergrens. It's just the best use of those Typhoons, because you really just, again, want to break down the infantry availability of the 116th. Challenger does take out the SDK of Z71. Panzergren's now going to have to deal with Airborne Bren Group on the bottom side. We see another Mosquito Pathfinder come in. That's going for the strike onto the Sturm Pioneers. Lovely stuff. And now the Cromwell 4 coming in to assist. But the Pack 40 laid in ambush. No recon once again is going to cause this Pack 40 to be killed. I was half expecting the Cromwell 4 to end up killing the Pack 40 then, but not quite. The 2-3-4-3 did actually end up getting a close range shot into the Challenger, but the Challenger snapshots the 2-3-4-3 in order to find the kill. Now has got to deal with a Pack 43, and that's going to be rough. Very rough indeed. That thing has its 6 base accuracy, or 7 base accuracy, sorry, with the 1-star veterancy, and well, that's an internal fragmented challenger. And there is going to be another one here soon, as the PaK-43 continues to push up. Oh, the MU-109 is going to be coming in, taking out the Typhoon bomber. A very nice kill, whilst the PaK-43 cleans up the challenger. And we're back to 50-50. What a game. And this is not where I expected to be in the late game. It looked as though at points in this game that both players had a really good opportunity to win. But so far, I would say that JM probably threw this the most, especially with the loss of the Panther G. Having that Panther G available would have just been perfect for dominating the bottom side, but was mismanaged and therefore did lose out quite significantly from an opportunity to secure the game. Now the MU-109 G6R6 is going to be going down, as it does get greedy and gets a little bit too close to the spawn of Aletoledo, who decides to bring in a couple of Polstons in order to win that engagement. Now that we see the Typhoon AT come in for a strike onto the Gepard, I'd maybe like to see that Typhoon AT saved for the second Panther G, but cleaning up the Gepard does allow these Tempests to take full control of the sky, so can't really blame him for doing so. 2, 3, 4, 1. Now I'm going to be pushing on this bottom side. Does still have to worry about one of these challenges, but you can see that that one has had a Jeep brought in for it now, so should be able to fix up that internal fragments. The Cromwell 4 on the bottom side, though, will be able to kill the 2, 3, 4, 1 in the meantime. Just needs to be a bit careful of the PaK-43, which is still covering that bottom side. Now, as it stands, I believe JM would win with the 958 points, since he is ahead, even though it technically would class as a draw. PaK-40, though, going to be taking out another Tetra that tries to make a push, and 1 health AT guns. They are the deadliest, of course they are. 2, 3, 4, 1 goes down to the Typhoon AT. That's another Typhoon AT coming on in. And lovely job just picking off those light vehicles, making JM pay for everything he decides to use. But it's just a matter of now finding the ground. Can put a lot of pressure onto the Stern Pioneers here, actually. Multiple Airborne Bren group coming in. Seems as though, just like myself actually, Aletoledo not too keen on using the Bren group unless he has to, the Airborne Bren group. In this case though, really nice positioning to take out the Stern Pioneers. Bren guns actually have quite high lethality, so they can take out men in squads before they are pinned quite often, because their suppression of a Bren gun is quite bad, but it's surprising how much damage they can do. These Bren group, they're going to be finding the PaK-40, and that should be going down as well. So Stern Pioneer, PaK-40 gone. Panzergrens on the bottom side are pinned. We can see the Pathfinders now coming in the center. They're going to be finding the PaK-38. That going down will leave the center vulnerable to attack from either tanks or armored vehicles. Things like these Humber Mark 3s are perfect right now for severe breakthroughs in the front line. With no AT on the mid or top side, the Humbers can basically run through any unit they come up against. The main trouble is spotting this PaK-43 down here, and I don't think that Aletoledo has done so just yet. But if he does, something like off-map or some form of artillery, even just his airstrikes would be great for taking that out. And there goes the Panzergrens, and the bottom side is secure. So, in 8 minutes and 40 seconds, Aletoledo will be victorious. He's somehow managed to bring it back so far in the game. PaK-43 just holding fire at the moment, since that would be using its HE ammunition. Ideally with this PaK-43, turning off the HE would be the best way to stop that revealing its location, because now that's very likely to be hit by an airstrike having revealed its location. Panzergrens, though, they've been taken out. The Humber Mark 3 has found the half-track on the top side, and I believe JM will be getting very, very low on his infantry availability right now. And that is not a position he wants to be in. Mosquito Pathfinder coming in. going to be burning up the Pak 43, allowing the push for the Humber Mark III and the Cromwell 4. Whilst this is burning, that is exactly the time for the Humber and Cromwell to make a move, because all of the AT has now been dealt with. The only AT left is these tanks, but can the Panzer III take out a Challenger? No, it cannot. The base accuracy of the Challenger being 6 does allow it to find the kill onto the Panzer III at that range. So there goes the Pak 43. Bottom side has opened up, so has the top side. We're pushing back towards a +3 now with Aletoledo. The 116th has been almost completely vanquished this late in the game, and honestly it looked as though it was JM's game to lose, and well, he managed to do so, unfortunately. With again, I think it all mainly came down to the loss of that Panther. That's like 280 points that you invest into that vehicle, and if you lose it, that's almost 3 minutes of your time just gone, and that's really, really bad. The Typhoon AT going to be coming in looking for a shot onto the SDKZ-71. The rockets go astray after it gets slightly pinned down, but if a second or even third Typhoon AT are on call, this now would be the time to bring them in and just finish off these units. Challenger does take the max range shot at the Panzer IV but misses. But that is going to be falling back with the help of the Typhoon AT for now. We can see the 17-pounder being brought in here from Aletoledo. That will allow him to continue the control of the center of the map as well. So overall, Aletoledo coming back strong in this late game. JM not really doing too well with his infantry preservation due to the bombing strikes coming in from the Typhoon. Like once again here, we're going to see this Panzer be taken out. Really, really nice. Just slowly but surely breaking down the infantry whilst finding some luck in killing the heavier units like the Panther G. And well, with the Humber Mark III taken out at 250-10, that's going to leave the SDKZ-71 vulnerable on the top side, unless the Panzer IV can save the day. But that is under fire from the Challenger, so can't really stay there for long. Managed to get just out of line of sight. That Orchard playing a part there. Challenger trying to come out wide in order to find the shot, but not going to be able to just yet. Bren Group going to be opening up onto the SDKZ-71. Should be pinned down, that infantry squad, but now we see the Panzer IV being engaged from the side by the Humber Mark III, going to be forced to fall back by the last shot of the Challenger, and it's just more or less over there at this point. Aletoledo takes full control, Panzer IV goes down, Panzer III on this bottom side is the last heavy unit remaining on the map. Ju-88 trying to get revenge with the two 25 HE power bombs is going to miss the mark. Nowhere near actually. Wow. And the Tempest coming in for the kill. JM doesn't want to see it happen. Does surrender, and after 35 minutes and 3 seconds, Aletoledo takes the victory. So that was really not the outcome that I expected halfway through the game. I thought the 116th had managed to break down enough of the airborne infantry in order to control the top side with those Sturm Pioneers, but also there was so much opportunity for the 116th to just seal the deal on the bottom side, even if he couldn't maintain control of the top side, because he was sat on a +2 for a very long time. So yeah, I feel like mistakes were made for JM, lost a little bit too many units in phase C, and it caused him to lose the game overall. And not getting control of the skies either, Aletoledo kind of ran away with that, and so JM was punished with all those Typhoon bombing strikes coming in and cleaning up his infantry. Made things very difficult. But there we go. Here are the kills. We got the 6-pounder cleaning up a few things early on. These Oxen Bucks actually did really well to get the 2341 kill, the 259 kill, half-track, and a Panzergran. These airborne Piets, remember they are 15 points apiece. Taking out 232 is really good value. Flam Panzer and a 250-10 there for this Piat squad. So great stuff. Oxen Bucks again, they are 30-point squads. They're going to be taking out a Flam Panzer worth 60 points. Really, really good stuff. Airborne Paras taking out a Speertroop and the half-track, again paying themselves off. And that's mainly what you want to see. Airborne Piat, 2 more, killing the Panzer III, a half-track, Flam Panzer Grille. These are such good squads in terms of value. Really, really nice. Then we got the Typhoon Bomber coming in, cleaning up plenty of Panzergrans. You still got to remember that these are 35 points apiece. So it does add up. And again, Airborne Paris cleaning up 3 Panzergrans. ME-109s going down to the Tempest. This was due to lack of AA on JM's account. I think considering you have 2-star ME-109s available, just investing a little bit more into AA would have allowed him to fight against the Tempest a lot more fairly. 17-pounder finding a couple kills there does pay itself off. Challenger doing really, really well for Aletoledo. Panther G kill, Gepard, SDK Z71, Guerrilla, and the SBW 2343. This Challenger also doing well with the Panzer 3 and Panzer 4 kill. Just loads of value out of the units of Aletoledo, and that's exactly what you want to see with the 6th Airborne, because they do struggle to have a lot of substance on the field, so they've got to make up to that with plenty of good kills. This Panzer 3 though caused a lot of issues from JM in the early game, cleaned up those tech trucks nicely, also gave a good fight to that Cromwell, which it managed to internal fragment. This Pack 40 though, 2-star veterancy, absolutely cleaned house on that road. Surprised it wasn't dealt with sooner. When they get down to that 1 health, that is when I try my best to get rid of them, whether it's with a strafing run or whatever. Getting rid of that Pack 40 should be priority, because they can be so damn deadly if they're left on the field. ME-109 did manage to take out one of the bombers in the end, and the Panzerwerfer found the kill onto the 17-pounder, which is exactly what you want to bring in a Panzerwerfer for. Especially if you're worried about, AT guns taking out your Panther G. But honestly, the Panther G was like, I think, the crux of this game, where it just completely collapsed for JM afterwards. Regardless, an interesting game, an outcome that I didn't expect, and it shows that the 6th Airborne is quite a bit stronger than it used to be, having enough infantry availability in the late game in order to continue the fight, whilst the 116th couldn't really continue. And yeah, I think it just shows like the changes that have come in with the community balance patch. So make sure you go check it out yourselves, guys. Community balance mod, it's called, on the Steam Workshop. The guys would really like help on the SD League Discord as well. So go check all that stuff out. In the meantime, that's it from me. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.